another day is here. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB, get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play a role, get where you need to. You can tune in from work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time? Calling is a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB, wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving, na 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 na. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Billies, wake up, Billies. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB, be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Billies our hope, so to need less reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Of respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's all we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that must be happen under God blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Billies, yeah. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Another day is here. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Everybody gotta put their time in. Wake up, Billies. Wake up, Billies. Voice of opinion and place your calling. WB.
All right, welcome. This is WUB, Wake Up Billies Morning Vibes. It's on a Thursday morning, the 3rd day of April, 2025. We welcome you to the program this morning. I'm Nuri Muhammad, and we have, I shouldn't say we got, because you know we always have. It's like we got a major meal prepared for you every Thursday and Friday, and in fact, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday likewise. And we like to make sure that you engage very early. We have a guest coming in after 7:30, but we'll open the phone lines to make sure that you get a chance to say what you got to say. Changes are taking place. Chester is moved across. That's an interesting story. The UDP still seems to be in a kind of a mode. Let's keep it that way. That's safe. And there's so many other things on the international scene. The man to put 10% tariffs on. We'll have a lot to discuss this morning. But before we get into the main course, we usually start with a look at our weather. Beautiful, beautiful southeasterly over the last couple of days. You know, after all that heat, we're back into some very cool weather. So Tariq Matthews will give us the facts. Tariq?
A good a fresh to strong and mostly dry east-southeasterly airflow prevails. The 24-hour forecast, mostly sunny and warm today and clear to partly cloudy tonight. Little or no rain is expected. The maximum temperatures for today will reach 89 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 96 inland and 84 up in the hills. The low temperatures for tonight will be around 82 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 72 inland and 68 up in the hills. The winds will be from the east-southeast at 15 to 25 knots with higher gusts, and the sea conditions will be rough. A small craft warning remains in effect for gusty winds and rough seas. Operators of small craft are advised to remain in safe harbor. A low tide will occur this morning at 6:54, a high tide this afternoon at 1:11, another low tide tonight at 9:14, and another high tide early tomorrow morning at 3:38. The sun rose this morning at 5:45 and will set this evening at 6:06. The moon will rise this morning at 10:07 and will set tonight at 11:59. In the sargassum forecast, surface observation and satellite imagery show a major influx of sargassum over the area, and this is expected to significantly affect beaches across the country during the next few days. In the fire risk forecast, the risk for forest or bushfires will be moderate to high. The outlook for Friday and Friday night is for similar weather conditions to prevail. For a review of our forecast and other products, please visit our website at nms.gov.bz. With that, we end this morning's forecast for the Belize National Met Service.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989, Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
It's the end of an era as Commissioner of Police Chester Williams yesterday conducted his last interview in that role on the sidelines of the first quarter Comstock meeting at the National Police Training Academy in Belmopan. While there were reports that Williams had asked for a transition period that could have gone as much as 3 months, on Monday it was reported that the CEO in the Ministry of Home Affairs had issued a letter to the Compol outlining a timeline for his departure and indicating that he could only act as in a caretaker role until he leaves. While the commissioner had said that the CEO had no authority to issue such a letter, it now appears that the Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Karim Musa, has been successful in speeding up Williams' departure, though he will not admit Williams is being pushed out for someone new. Minister Musa told the media he knows that Williams will succeed in his new role, especially when it comes to road safety.
His record speaks for itself. I think you can look at his entire tenure in office. It has been an accomplished record. He has done so much, not just in terms of reducing crime, but for the welfare of the police officers in our department. And so it's a difficult thing because I know the commissioner still has a lot of life left in him. He's only 51 years old. But the Prime Minister and myself discussed the future because we certainly would never want to lose our commissioner and his capabilities, his capacity. As you know, last year we had the most traffic fatalities probably in the history of the country. Our commissioner can back me up on that. And we can see where even while he was commissioner, sharing with us at the cabinet level a lot of strategies that can be put in place to make our highways a lot safer. And so we thought it fitting, myself and the Prime Minister of course, to elevate our Commissioner of Police to the position of the Chief Executive Officer in that ministry, as well as the Constitutional Affairs and Indigenous Affairs.
Musa said that the CEO's letter was not intended to be rude, but was meant instead to preserve the status quo.
During this transition period, while it is that we would hope for a seamless, smooth transition, there are certain actions and certain decisions that can be made that can affect the department moving forward. And so it was just a reminder in terms of the transition. You know, it has cost implications for transfers, it has cost implications for promotions. Let us try to make the transition as smooth as possible because not necessarily the new commissioner of police would agree to these transfers. And so we have to make sure that we preserve the status quo as best as possible. And so that's how I see the letter, just saying let us preserve the status quo as we transition.
Musa was left to respond yesterday to the reports that he was pushed out and is leaving the department in less than amicable terms. He acknowledged that he was taken aback by the CEO's letter, especially since he says that he had discussed with the minister all the works that he intended to conclude before his departure.
To be able to avoid any fighting, in-house fighting, I decided that, you know what, it's best I pack up and leave and move over to my new area of responsibility.
So your departure was, to some extent, because you know I have no conflict, hastened by that procedurally incorrect letter?
Certainly it had to do with, and I will be honest, it had a lot to do with that indeed. I don't want to have a fight with nobody. It is unnecessary. We already have the criminals out there that we need to fight. I don't think there's any need for us to fight among ourselves. So to avoid any issues with anybody, I said, you know what, it's best I move and get out of people way.
For his part, the minister disagreed with the characterization that he wanted Williams out, and he praises on him. He said that Williams had indicated he wanted to leave his post this year and added that this new CEO position is in fact a promotion.
The commissioner this morning mentioned to me that he will be moving over to his CEO duties. As you know, that itself is a very demanding task to get over there. As early as next Monday, we meet with the Prime Minister this afternoon at 3:30 to discuss the way forward for the transition. I think the commissioner late last year, early this year, had mentioned to the media and to the nation that he would be departing this year. It's not pushing out at all. It's elevating, graduating even to the next level of CEO. He did indicate that he wanted to serve in his capacity as a public servant. He wanted to continue in that role. And to me, that is an elevation. You might not see it that way, but it is an elevation.
But CEO of Home Affairs would have been a natural progression.
We already have a CEO of Home Affairs, and like I said, the Prime Minister felt it fitting that the Commissioner would do an excellent job. As you know, we have not had a CEO in the Ministry of Transport, I think at least for 6 months prior to the election, and so there was that vacancy there.
Now that things have come to a head in this manner, Williams says that he's excited for the new challenge and said that Friday should be his last day as Commissioner of Police. He said that he has lots of plans for his new ministry.
I'm excited about moving over to the Ministry of Transport, Constitutional Reform, Indigenous People Affairs, and Religious Affairs. It is going to be a new challenge for me, and I am the type of person from the time I know myself growing up, I have always embraced challenges, and I always ensure that whatever task is given to me, that I do it to the best of my ability, that I develop a passion and love for it. And I do believe that once that is done, then you are going to be successful at whatever task. And so I am grateful to the Prime Minister for the opportunity being given to me to move over to that ministry, and I assure him that I will do my utmost best making sure that we improve road safety in particular in this country. Like Minister rightly alluded in his interview that last year was a very deadly year on our highways, and we cannot have another year of that. There's going to be a greater need for the police and DOT to work more closely together. And just this morning I said to the Minister that I would like to establish a police liaison within the Ministry of Transport, not within the Department of Traffic, again with a view to ensure that we remain on the same page when it comes to road safety. There's a lot that we need to do in terms of improving the lives, to be able to hold drunk drivers, reckless drivers more accountable for their actions. So I have some plans that I have been working on even while being Commissioner of Police. I will now be able to move over and get those plans going and see how best we can bring them into fruition to be able to enhance road safety in this country.
Now that the departure date for Commissioner of Police Chester Williams has been confirmed, Minister Kareem Musa says that he expects the transition of Dr. Richard Rosado, assuming the post of Commissioner of Police, to be a smooth one. He does admit that Dr. Rosado is more reserved than media-friendly Chester Williams, and said they may have to consider getting a public relations officer to ensure that the media is kept abreast of police matters in a timely manner.
I work very closely with the commissioner, with the deputies of our department, with the assistant commissioners of our department. I have a good relationship with all of them. In my opinion, it's going to be a smooth transition. Yes, you might say to yourself that you will not have the level of relationship that the media has with the commissioner of police, because I think that the future commissioner is a lot more reserved, so to speak, and so perhaps we would need to fill the void, because this is by far the most transparent commissioner, but we need to continue to fill that void to make sure the media gets the information that it needs each and every day. And so filling that void perhaps with a public relations officer, I don't think anybody could have done a better job than the commissioner in terms of representing what is taking place within our department and the crime statistics. And so moving forward, you could see greater involvement of other personnel, an academic, as you said, Dr. Rosado, and greater strategy. Not that this commissioner didn't have great strategy, because we have all the results to prove it. So it will be a continuation of the good strategy that our commissioner has put in place.
As we reported earlier this week, 2 police officers were investigated in the ongoing suspected drug plane landing last week in rural Toledo near the Guatemalan border. On Wednesday, the Commissioner of Police, Chester Williams, refuted claims that the 2 officers received any special treatment. Williams said that they were given the same privileges as any other citizen, and added that both cooperated with the investigation.
Like you rightly said, those officers were brought in, just as we would have done with any ordinary person. They went through the mills. We put together an investigative team of senior investigators to investigate that matter, to see if there was anything credible to the information. And so far, we have not been able to unearth anything to indicate that those officers were involved in that plane landing. Of course, yes, the investigation remains active. They have also agreed for the devices to be searched. That is going to be done by the DA agents. And again, the fact that they agreed to that shows how transparent they want to be with the investigation in terms of cooperating. I'm not going to put the cart ahead of the horse at this time. I believe that we can be judged in terms of what we did. Once we received information, they were brought in, they were interviewed, and they remain in custody for 48 hours like we would have done with any other person. So there was no special treatment given to them. But at the end of the day, we have to be fair to people. If there's nothing to indicate anything further of their involvement, then they had to be released from custody while the investigation continues.
The names of 2 police officers allegedly appeared on a list of people who received $50,000 US to facilitate the plane landing. Williams denied that this was the case. He also refuted claims that, he also refuted claims that these 2 officers were shown preferential treatment when compared to an officer who was dismissed after his name appeared on a list of police officers allegedly involved with the narco elements. Williams said that the 2 circumstances are not comparable.
You cannot compare this with the previous case. It's like comparing night and day. You know, I'm sure, the circumstances involving that particular officer. It is not just today that we have been hearing about him. It has been for a very, very long time. There have been numerous information obtained as it relates to his involvement in these illicit activities, and so it's not the same. So I would hope that you divorce the 2 and do not keep them together.
Williams said that a village council member from Toledo and a Guatemalan are also being investigated in this case.
We had received a number of information, and based on that, again, the police, the investigative team again, had moved into that area, and they had detained 2 individuals from there. What we were getting was that they were involved in some respect or some aspect of the plane landing. They were brought in, they were interviewed. I think there was information on one cell phone showing the tree that was cut to the entrance of where the plane had landed, which would suggest that he knew of it. Again, our interviews in respect of that matter is ongoing. The investigators are still out trying to collect as much as they can to see if we will be able to gather a little bit more so that we'll be able to charge these people if the evidence should surface.
The Baseball Federation of Belize, BFB, is looking to revive the sport. One of the projects of the Federation has as a long-term goal is to construct a state-of-the-art baseball facility in Biscayne, Belize District. President of the BFB, Carlon Flores, explained that Biscayne is the location where the Minister of Natural Resources, Honorable Cordell Hyde, was able to locate a 10-acre of land that the BFB could purchase. Flores explained that their vision is to start a regional baseball academy to develop future stars from the region.
The vision is to construct a state-of-the-art baseball stadium. There, we will have at least 3 baseball fields. I'm thinking really big. One for Little League level, one for professional baseball, at least 400 feet from the center field to the base, and that's professional. And then a softball pitch, because that's what we intend to do long term. Then we're going to have, of course, dorms, at least 60 rooms. Those 60 rooms, dorms will be we will cater for, our long-term goal is to cater for people to come from like Central America, to come to our academy. We're going to be training talents per year. We're going to train, like for example, get 60 young persons from around the world, particularly Central America, to come to our academy, all right? And then they will train, develop them to world-class level, send them out, and then that's going to be the recycling process. And so by doing that, then we'll be able to develop our own talent and develop other talent. So it's going to become a state-of-the-art entity, like one that is in the Dominican Republic. So that's the long-term goal. And of course, we will have gyms and all those different things that state-of-the-art baseball structure should have. Now, we don't have a timeline because we want to enter into a partnership with the government of Belize because we want to have sports tourism in Belize whereby we can market our sports like America does, all right? And I think that's another level that we need political will. We need politicians to step up to the plate and start to make these significant investments, sustainable investments, because without these investments, we will keep having what we have, basically nothing. We need to be very creative as a nation with how, we create opportunities for people to strive each and every day. So I think that if they will partner with us, this could bring in millions of dollars into our country. Coach William Larson, who is from Chicago area, he has been instrumental in helping me with developing a developmental plan for the 10 acres of land, and he estimated at the time it was going to be $3 million, but I think he was thinking about just one satellite field, but the entire property is going to take more than that.
Josue Carballo, the Chief Tourism Officer in the Ministry of Tourism, Diaspora Relations, Youth and Sport, told the media that upgrading sporting facilities across the country will be a focus of the current administration. He also said that the ministry believes that the BFB's plan will be a success.
The idea, definitely, they're the big sports that have been consistent in cycling, in football, basketball, and so on. The facilities will be uplifted, and then the idea is to create multi-purpose facilities because similar, like the softball pitches can be retrofitted as well to be used for baseball. So there are different ways to do it, and we heard today that they do have a place where they do want to further develop. So all of that, we have to see the growth that is happening. We're pretty sure it will be a success, and the growth of facilities will be high in the priority list of this current administration.
That's our news package for this morning, the 3rd day of April 2025. There's more news coming up after the program which follows us. That is the Morning Stew at 12 o'clock. There's also one at 3 o'clock this evening and a full news broadcast at 5:15. All this on Creme Radio. Here on XTV, we bring you the entire news broadcast at 6 o'clock this evening. It's now 5 minutes to 7 o'clock, and we'll take a short break, come back, and we'll open the phone lines for this morning and give you a chance to input. Stay tuned.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989.
Welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes on a Thursday morning, the third day of April 2025. I'm Nuri Mohammed in the seat in the driver's seat this morning. We welcome you. Our numbers here is 280-5848, and you're welcome to call in and to join us. We do have guests coming in after the 2 cents cam this morning. But we'll have the first part of the show dedicated to anyone who wants to call in and to give their own comments or spin or whatever we call it nowadays. You are free to engage us this morning. I want to say thank you to our brother Mohammed Rais. Mohammed Rais, originally Anthony Reyes. He had a gathering yesterday for his mother, Miss June Dawson, who was 90 years old yesterday, 90 years old. And it was a wonderful occasion, nothing big and grand, but it was a very special occasion where family and friends gathered to give our love and our appreciation for the 90-year experience of Miss Dawson here on the earth, or some people say 90 years around the sun. Present were several people, Muhammad himself, Anthony. We had also his sister, Glennis, Mrs. Glennis Hall, his daughter, Nur. Wonderful to see Nur at 24 years old, since we've been watching her grow over the years. His nephew, Enfield, and his mother. We also had the Imam Khalim El Amin, and his family was also there. And it was just a nice occasion to see everybody in such a good spirit, enjoying an elder, one who has been with us, who has had an influence on my life for all these many years. So it was good to be in that sort of setting where, we could reflect a little bit on how we were. Some people like to say, oh, you're trying to take those journeys into times gone past. But in fact, when you're dealing with culture, when you're dealing with manners, when you're dealing with those things, those glues that hold us together, you always appreciate it so much more. Sometimes people like to look at Belize, particularly when they look at some of the murders, the abuse that's taking place in some homes, people suffering from their own trauma of going through some difficult times. We tend to think that that is the only snapshot of we as Belizeans. No, it's good to look and to see where we came from, and to see that we came from good stuff. We come from strength. We come from culture, and that we need to reinforce that culture and not adapt so quickly to this, what I'll call global culture. I say global culture because when you see what's going on in Belize today, you really can go to Jamaica, Trinidad, you go to Guyana, you go to New York, you go to some, and there's a sameness in what is going on, perhaps because of social media taking such a powerful influence on the culture of people that it even replaces our indigenous culture. So when you look at persons like Miss June, and you hear stories about how, if somebody would come to her house in a kind of a stressed and depressed state, first thing she want to do is pull some food, feed you, and if she have one change, give you. And I've heard so many stories about little things, and little things mean a lot, especially when a person is in a dire situation. And we need to hear those stories. We need to hear how important it is to remember to be charitable, and not to do charity and say you owe me, like we do nowadays. I'll help you, but right followed after I help you, I point, you owe me. That was not our way in the past. We used to just help you and left it up to God. And if you never got manners to turn around and say thank you and I appreciate it, well, that's on you. But we also made sure in the old time days that we helped those who needed help. So we heard so many stories yesterday of people who would pass Miss June, and years later, Mohammed said that people would say, where you live? You mean Pancras Road? You mean man, that lady there? So it is that kind of reinforcement that we have not completely lost that from our culture here in Belize. So great respect to Mohammed for remembering to honor his mother at 90 years old, his sister Glennis, his daughter. It was a wonderful occasion to be in your company yesterday. Our numbers here, as I said, is 2805848. We have a guest that's coming in after 2 cents cam this morning. We hear yesterday a big announcement that's going to impact us. We've been looking at different statements and positions being articulated by this man called Trump. And yesterday, he made an announcement, I think they call it Liberation Day, where he is imposing a tariff on, and this is what amazed me, almost the majority of the countries that will be impacted it are small, struggling economies like Belize. We are now going to be faced with our exports to the United States being hit with a tariff of 10%. That means that those products like sugar, like molasses, like other products that we export to the United States, for every dollar, 10 cents will be added to it, which is a 10% on our products. Now, what is the impact of that on us? Now, I'm no economist. I'm not going to try to pretend because I had to do research just to come and talk to you this morning. Some people can talk it and rattle it off the top of their head because they're economists and they understand these things. But me, my lane is different than economy. I'm in my lane, but in order to have this conversation with you, I had to back up and do a little background. What this is saying is that if you are sending a product into the United States and your customer is normally paying you a certain amount for that product, he now, I'm talking he as a company, now has to pay 10% on that which he is importing from our country. That means that it puts us in a funny position now because they may seek to get that product that they used to get from Belize at a cheaper rate elsewhere. It also means that if they hold on to our product will be more expensive on the shelf. It also means that if they reduce that import of Belizean product, it's going to affect our industries here that is producing that product, which means employment, it means a lot of other factors, it means less money in the economy of Belize because of our dependence so much on our US market. But it also means that if we can't sell to the US, we have to start exploring other areas and other markets where our product can get a fair trade. And these kinds of issues can affect the economy as it is going to affect the world economy. Now, Mr. Trump's excuse or rationale is that this was one of his campaign promises, that he is going to reduce U.S. dependence on these products coming in because it is stifling their own productive capacities and making their products less marketable because our products are coming in and competing with the products that they are producing there. So they call this a trade war. It's not something that we are used to. It's a language that is old because governments have had trade wars between each other, in some cases with China and the United States. It's going on. It's a continual war. But we have not been caught up in that. We, as small developing economies, have not had to deal with this issue of trade war. But now we are hauled into a situation, not by our own, but by the circumstances of these giants. Now, he's also saying, and Mia Motley and Ralph Gonzalez came out very strongly in protest to this, that those ships from China that have products that are coming into the Caribbean, now they're not targeting Caribbean, they're targeting the Chinese ships. They're going to now put sanctions on these ships, which is going to trickle down into our economy in the Caribbean to mean that those products now are going to cost us more landed, which means guess who will pay for it? Not the middleman, but those of us who have the final product that we are buying for our homes, for our dinner table, or for wherever. We are now going to have to pay more for those products if he continues with this sanction with China. Now, he says he's dealing with the Chinese when it comes to that. But those ships are the ships that are bringing the products into the Caribbean region, and therefore Mia Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, shouted, bloody hell, what are you doing? You're going to hurt us by sanctioning by you and China the fight. You're causing us down the trade line, or down the line of the products, or the line of the exported products, that we are going to be the ones to end up suffering because our economy already is a very delicate economy. We're not booming economies here. We are still, I don't want to call it hand to mouth, but we're not booming. We're still balancing and doing the very best that we can. We still have a significant amount of our population that is kind of frozen in their upward mobility. You've got people who cannot see that over the next 5-10 years that they are going to be that much improved. It's been very, very slow progress. Why? Because we don't have a tremendous amount of products that we are able to manufacture and sell. We're still dependent on consumer products coming in, which we have to pay big money for those products. So if you understand countries like Jamaica, countries like Barbados, countries like St. Vincent, Nevis and St. Kitts and Nevis, Guyana, these countries are all like us here in Belize, who are dependent on these external products coming in, mostly consumer products, which we can't produce, but we are paying for them. And with this trade war, we'll end up having more costs on these products when we try to buy them on the shelf. What is this saying? Certainly it's a wake-up call to all countries in this area. It is telling us that we've got to produce more. We at least have to make sure that we're not food dependent and that we have food security. We have to expand the production of food that will make it affordable for our people. But we have to depend on this cost of fertilizer. We have to depend on the cost of the seeds coming in, all the other products that go into the production of the agricultural sector. Those products are going to cost more, which means that at the end of the line, when we see it, instead of paying $1 for 5 bananas, and remember there was a time when it was 8 bananas for $1, we may end up with a situation where we're paying the $1 for 3 bananas. These are how these things trickle down to the consumer, and the consumer gets into a real tight spot because of these giants way up in the economy having war with each other. It is important. Our number here is 2805848, and here's our first call. Welcome, caller.
Hello.
Yes.
Morning, Brother Nuri.
Yeah, brother. Welcome.
Very good discussion, Brother Nuri.
Yes, sir.
And I always call the radio station. Look at this discussion that you is having. Where is the government side? They know already this they come. Where is that side where should have come and talk to the people, the plan where they have? You can't wait till you take lick, then try to defend yourself. You have to defend yourself before you take their lick. see you going to study economics.
No.
Very simply to put it out there. Very, very simple so we could understand. We don't need to go to no university to know where they happen. Common sense could tell you where it happened. But these brothers know where they are coming now. You don't know. Well, you don't know where they happen now. But not we fault that they want the outside. So we are take lick. We want take lick. But for they shield themselves to say they don't got nothing to do with it. That's the first thing they say. The external forces, which we know. But how are you preparing us to take their shot here? And this is how people need to come in. Our students don't come in when the election time. All these members, I could remember before the first election, then it flood, then it broke down the Zinkens to get in, to get on the show, whatever that you know.
Yeah.
You know, you say it yourself, the telling company show they refuse, you know. And that's when they get in a position, you're not sitting. All you hear then is stupidness. That's all that they do. Simply. And this serious, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we done the take lick, brother, and you had to tell you we to take a lick out here. What we made to buy out $100, but he don't get a lot of stuff. No, we only get half of the amount, they go to quarter now. When you broke one 50 chop, but right there you left out the 1 or 2 things in a bag, breeze, they blow it to you, so that breeze, they blow right out your hand. Not much in the bag. And it will get worse. It will get worse. Because we are an importing country, we don't export much. So we have to take a lick. And I tell you, because for independence, I have been saying this, Nuri, and you know this. We was manufacturing more goods then, back then than now. All we depend on plenty of tourism and other stuff. And those are, like with the import, they stuff there, so we make money off it. Then they go down, we go down. Tourism go down, we go down. You have to set up yourself in manufacturing goods. We may have much more back then than now. A lot of factories we had here, I place were closed down. You see? And then by the prepare all when they do the beggars, then pick the pens for grant. A lot of them depends on loan grant, this one they give with it. Empty you look on the vehicle and this stuff for Japan, this stuff for Taiwan, your bridge, your road, everything now outside. We as a small country with all the resources we have to be self-sufficient. For ourselves, our people. That's so we defend ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
You see me, they out there to work, you pass on to me. At my age, I didn't have son up by the time.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to beg nobody.
Yeah.
I got my kids there, and I got a lot of kids, 16 kids though.
Yeah.
I could go beg there. I used to give me $50 every week, but they got their own problem, they got their family to deal with.
Yeah.
I got mine, myself, I have to spend for me.
Yeah.
And I get out there, I have to put my umbrella over my head to shield me from the sun. I ain't gonna work.
Yeah. But you know
I help people.
Yeah.
You say I do my thing out there, I help people and help myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't chance nobody. I try to work with people. That's the way I give back to society.
Yeah.
And talk to the youth there where they pass every day.
Yeah. You know what?
These people that are doing up in Cotopaxi, they get in a power. They don't know when they get in a power. You got certain leverage where you are hustle. They want to make money. Because once you get in a power that you they handle the pot, that you got the money in your hand, they control it. And they don't know. They, after them family member, were all right. Because we get in now, when our side get in, anytime. But that the people out here will suffer, and that the people out here and put them there, they should have look out for. Look out for we, that we put you there. Because we can't go to the House of Representatives, so we send them to represent us, to make our life better. We don't say how to do it. And look at the crime situation, you right know the brother, they try a thing, but it get out of hand.
Yeah.
And this new commissioner will come in here, it's like he gave a bag of pill. And they tell you, you're serious, sir. You're serious, like he take over a bag of pill. While murder rate is down, gun incidents are up. A lot of gun incidents, they happen just that people they get shot and they get killed. They know they get killed, then they get shot, but they know they get killed, brother. It got to slow down because even that they affect us. When people say that foreign investors now, where are to invest? Where are to invest? You know, a place in the riddle with crime, and you don't know uncertainty thereon. You don't know what happened. So all these things are in a serious trouble. Bring these people to the table. How we have navigate through this? Bring them to the table, brother. No, force them. Come out and say plain bad, so don't have to go explain to the people there. They vote on the in one of the high for. Come and explain under the defense. How much of them could come to the table right there, four are there with you? Are you asking any hard question how we have navigate through this? The people they want to know. All you see then at the event and they put all the mic, they insult up the reporters there, the people there. I think we don't want that. We want you to explain. Just like how me and you to talk, bad Creole. Bad Creole. We don't want all our fancy words. How we have navigate through this. It's and us now. And we'll call Trump crazy man and we'll call all kind of things.
No make no difference.
Wait, decision where he may make, whether crazy man or call out, decision where he make will affect us.
Yeah.
And affect the world. Big nation, the bar, we don't think of a nation like
this. Exactly. Canada, the bar. Mexico, the bar.
All of them, the bar.
Yeah.
And then there are big
Giants,
nation.
brother. Giants. Me don't know why I can't figure out why he never kept for his war at a higher level with giants and big nations. He got them big European nations that are wealthy nations. Why you want to select these small struggling economies? He gone in Africa, he gone in some small countries, poor economies in Asia. Why would you be putting the pressure on us? Why in the old days we could sit back and watch as the Africans say, when the elephant then the fight, that enough for we, but when the elephants start to smash the plant life around them, the grass as they used to call it, then we are suffer. And that's what's going on. We don't do nothing to Mr. Trump. We don't have no upstartness with that he may want to sanction us, but just because we have a good working amicable relation with Cuba and he not like Cuba, he want to continue that whole East-West war business with Cuba and want to cause us now that if you have anything to do with Cuba, if you keep having these Cuban people coming in and inside of your economy or inside of your country, which he's calling slave labor. He's saying that we are enslaving these Cubans now. This is coming from the Cubans in Florida, of course. He's saying that we in the Caribbean are putting pressure on these people who are really enslaved. Man, you crazy. The government of Belize pays the Cuban who are doctors and others here. As a matter of fact, you got some of them who come in here and they apply, they become Belizean citizen, and then they advertise all over Facebook to come this doctor here, this doctor there. Those are Cubans that we allowed to come in and to improve their life in Belize that maybe they couldn't have done in Cuba. So what you were talking about, we are going to get sanctioned. No, you're going to sanction our leaders and take away their visa from going to the United States just because we are having an amicable relationship with them. What happened to independence? What is wrong with you? We are an independent country that has the right to say we want to have the dealing with Palestine, we want to have a dealing with Cubans, we want to have a dealing with where we select what is in our best interest. But no, here comes that old time Monroe doctrine that look here, we control what is going on in this region. Not only, you know, even Mexico and Canada, we control what is going on in this region. And that's what we have to look forward to. But my brother, thank you for the call, man. You're always stimulating us and causing us to...
one more thing, brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
Understand with them, brother.
Yeah.
We have to understand with like brothers like Trump. Them brothers feel like they are superior.
Yeah.
Superior.
Yeah.
And like we got trash. especially black people, with a trash, with a nothing. And just why, as black people, we have to start to stand up and band together, especially in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
We have to come together. That's why I said we got some kind of plan in the Caribbean to navigate through this. We have to get together.
Yeah.
And it's a way we leaders need to understand. We have to get up, stand up, and have to fight. You can't fight we. You can't fight we for you just get rich and stay in a power for you, all right? Because you to punish we.
Yeah.
You have to band together to help we, not fight against we. To help we. I don't know, upset when people talk and they call in and they say this not to go right and they bring me down because I talk. I listen to what they say. I don't know a simple person.
Yeah.
I know a man where they say, millions of miles ahead, I say where they come.
Yeah.
Anytime talk thing, he come true. You don't know what it is. Anytime this one, he come true.
Yes.
He come to pass.
Yeah.
Because I got the ability to think. I'm not stupid. And I see how I do my work. Before I do any job, I study before I get on it. And I get it through. Look how difficult it's difficult. And this is how they go around. If they don't talk to them, they get vexed. They go upset. You don't get upset. Listen.
Yeah.
Learn. You know?
Yes.
So, brother, take care.
All right, my brother. Thank you. Also, good. We're going to close the line now and go to 2 Cents Cam with our brother Brick City. And 2 Cents Cam is sponsored by Fort Point Security. All right, welcome back. This is WUB, Wake Up Billy's Morning Vibes. It's a Thursday morning. It's the first Thursday of April, and we've just completed our month-long 30 days of Ramadan, and it has been a wonderful experience for all of those who fasted. And we hope that what we gained individually and collectively during this 30 days of abstinence, that it benefits us, makes us better. And really, it's not about the discipline only of the fast, but what has it done to improve who you are? And self-care is an important term that we use nowadays in reference to the body. But we also need self-care in monitoring what comes out of our mouth, what comes out and comes into our mind. A lot of the problems that you have starts upstairs in your mind, in your thinking, in your processes. And you're really just living out those dramas that's going on in your head. Ramadan gives us a chance to clean the room and to start all over. And that renewal is an important part of the human being. If you just accumulate without cleaning out and purging out even those thoughts, you become a burden to yourself, and certainly those around you can see, you're not used to be like this, we cause this. So Ramadan is an opportunity for renewal, as is the Lent. Those who practice the Lent, this is still the Lenten season, know what I'm talking about, because by Easter Sunday, you feel renewed, you feel refreshed, you feel like I've given up certain things because I needed to purge, and so I did purge. So we'll open the phone lines again because our guest is being hooked up by Zoom from Mexico City. He's no other than G. Michael Reed. He's just had a very successful operation, which I'll ask him to talk and share with us. He's been doing it on Facebook, and certainly we want to hear directly from him. But again, I'm being told that Mr. Trump is saying to some of his insiders that he is going to remove, and I'm being careful here because he's not vexed with Musk, Elon Musk, but he's realizing that Musk and his style is becoming a political liability. Musk is an independent, multi-millionaire, and people like that can sometimes say and do things without care, because what you could do for me? What can you hurt me? I am insulated by my wealth. And so when you put people like that in positions of authority and power, they tend to be insensitive. Sometimes they take you trying to give them an excuse as to why things are like they are. They relegate you to lazy. You find excuses. And that's a culture that's becoming very prevalent in business now, is that you can't have an excuse. You know, if you say, listen, my baby's sick, or listen, I don't feel well today, you know, you instantly, from the way the people are trained in business now, let's think about getting rid of him, because, you know, he's lazy, you know, he don't like coming. Welcome, caller.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Nuri.
Yeah, welcome, salam, my brother.
I just want to give my 2 cents on the important topics that you're bringing today.
Okay.
In my opinion, I would call myself I have been a revolutionary, peaceful revolutionary since I was 17 years of age. I became conscious of the different sufferings that the bigger nations create on the small countries like us in Latin America and the Caribbean. We keep suffering, and we keep suffering by calling us small country and banana country, banana republic, but yet they don't want to admit that it was because of us as banana republic they have been feeding their people as they call first world. But the point I want to make, people keep saying the New World Order, but in my opinion, the New World Order has always been the old world order, which is always imposing what they feel like in small nations like ours. And when they're saying that the taxation, new taxation, is more taxation on top of the one they have been given from ever since before I was born. Because my grandparents and parents complain about the same problems. I learned that in the 80s, a watch that would cost $300 or $150 in the West will cost $9 in the East. Simply means that when they come from the East to the West, it's heavily imposed in taxes, so we have to pay to the north, as people will say. And in that, I just want to close that part and tell you something that you mentioned before. You say that and I also know, and many people know, the telephone devices have a special microphone and a lens watching us 24/7, and also there is the smart television. But there's also one more to what I know about it. The distance when you say COVID-19, you have to keep 6 foot apart because they only so you avoid from contagion in the other person. I agree with that, but also the 6 foot apart also signifies that if I am 6 foot apart from you, the people that is monitoring us via microphone and satellites 24/7 will be able to control the entire world. But if we are too close, if we are standing less than 6 foot, the GPS won't work. That is the reality that they hide. And the final one to close, because also I listened from you, the banana that you mentioned, $3, $1 for 3 bananas, is sad. Because the majority of the banana we consume through the Caribbean and Central America has been in many banana farms throughout Honduras, Bandeco in Guatemala, Puerto Valles, I've been in Bandeco, I mean in Costa Rica, Puerto Limón, Bandeco in Guatemala, Chiquita banana in Colombia, in Colombia. So those bananas, fruits and vegetables that we consume in these countries are the reject banana, because the first quality one, they take them away to Europe and North America.
Yeah.
And we only eat rejects. And even in Belize, I found out that people just go in the banana farms and they pick up from the reject banana, which is not even for sale. They just go and pick up and box it up and bring it to Belize. So that shouldn't be 3 bananas for that if it comes to that test, because it's not a first class banana we're eating like the one they carry. But salam alaikum.
All right, brother. All right, wa alaikum assalam. Well, it's the same banana. It still has the same nutritional value, but you're right. They either there are a lot of middlemen. And the banana that goes into the European market has to be a certain standard, and so if it is not, they reject the product and send it back or say we're not to buy that, because it has to be at a certain level so that it can not be overripe, and it has to be green and sort of ripe while it's there in the marketplace there. And so there's an inspection that goes on. It's not just Belize, all of these companies do, and if it doesn't fit that criteria, it gets put over here as the rejects. Now, who gets the rejects? We get the rejects. Jamaica get the rejects. Whoever produces banana or get the rejects. But it's not that the rejects are rejected because of nutritional value. It's the same banana, but it's just that there's a hustle that goes on. And I think what you're saying is, because that is a reject banana, why should it be so expensive? That's the middleman issue that we're dealing with here, where our own local people are in fact trying to, you could almost call it dead raise, because the rejects are not necessarily sold, or maybe they are, but if they're sold at a reduced rate. And when it reaches the market and we end up with 5 banana, and if things are the way they are, some businessmen are very unscrupulous. They listen to the market and say, then they complain about things and price, they go up, so I justified in raising the price here. And then we have I don't want to call it impotent, but it's an almost impotent consumer protection agency here that does not, in fact, police all these persons that are selling products to us. That's why we end up with damaged product. I bought a product the other day at a place I won't say, and they all bent up. Man, look here. You don't sell me a product where the tin is all dent up. That means you should have put that in our next area as a damaged product and take off $1 or at least 50 cents off of that product. You don't sell me that product at the same $7 as the one that is here. I'm saying how strict consumer agencies are in other countries. You can't go to no big supermarket in the United States and get a product and it dent up in the side here and you pay the same $10 as we know. You will find it over here in clearance that is at a cheaper rate, not because the product is wrong, but they don't want to sell you a damaged product. You ask anybody who has traveled outside of Belize and see if you're going to end up paying at the same price that you pay for the product that is not damaged. So we got business people who are unscrupulous, and I know they say all business is unscrupulous now. That is not what I'm saying. Some of the go is saying that that's what we're saying. We're not saying that. We're saying that we have some unscrupulous business people who know that then they get the banana, and the same thing go with orange. You pick up the orange that is almost free, you put it in your truck and you bring it down here, and instead of us getting the banana, the benefit of the rejected banana at 10 bananas for $1 or 10 orange for $1, you want to scheme it, and well, you know, price to go up and fuel to go up, and you know, pay parts I have to pay for my truck. All this bunk just so that you could dead raise on us. So yes, we need a strong consumer protection agency. Not them flimsy people who stay up in the office in Belmopan and we not got enough fuel to go around. We not got enough people here. So the civil servants, they say, or the civil officers say, we can get out there and help you. Give me the book there so we could go around and start to ticket the people for you. Do you think we've taken them up on that? And you think because we've exposed a few of these persons that have done it on mahogany, you think that's done? Do you think that is all you need to do? That's a public relations scheme. You need to put it in place so that you could report to us on a regular basis that, look, these are people who have gone to court for misusing you. Yeah, and they see, yeah, this is this month's one here. And yes, this is this month's here. I bet they'll stop after that. But if you make it this big population thing, and yes, so with the carry one year, a magistrate court, and they have to pay 100 and 1,000 or whatever dollars for that, and that's it, that's a public relations scheme. And you need to be concerned about consumer protection. You've got to deal with these people where they sell with tennis for $200, and in less than a month or two, the tennis flapping off and things like that because then they get it from Free Zone in Panama or one of these places that are rejects again. So what do? We elect our representatives to represent us not just during the campaign, but outside of the campaign. Yes, you should be the one asking to come on these shows to say in the agricultural sector, in the health sector, in the police sector, in these other sectors, we are responsible to come to you, not just when Jules put one mic or Marisol put one mic, and then you give us a little song bite because they got about 20 different stories, so they could only give 1 minute or two to this story. That doesn't educate us. All that does is inflame us, and then we're left with the, so that we're going on there. So we, as the caller said, need to have the politicians, need to have the ministries, take on a responsibility to say, we're not just governing, left us alone, man, we can do this thing here, we're doing it on your behalf. No, that's the 40 years ago way. This today has to be, we need to be knocking on the door of the media because the media is the fourth estate. We can't wait until you have a House of Assembly meeting once a month or once every 2 months and then arguing among each other and we the people can't even figure out where they go on there. No. You need to take it upon yourself like Hugo Chavez. He said, look, I am responsible every week as the leader of this country to have a TV show that I'm coming, not but got a positive vibe, or when the UDP was here, got to wake up the morning or whatever. What was their name? What that one name by the Youth for the Future Drive? You don't just go there on a political station. You make it your responsibility to go to every one of these media outlets. You make sure that your public relations people are sending out explanations so that people are aware. Yes, I'm hearing you. Are conscious of what is going on. This is our responsibility. And if we don't say it to you as the media, and you don't have, and someone need to catch feelings right now. What the hell is wrong with me? What's wrong with them keep people back at the zinc fence? They always try to stir up things. We don't try to stir up things. We're not trying to make you an enemy. And you shouldn't consider us an enemy. You should say, man, at least them people have to speak truth to power. They're not afraid. You could do them something, but they will rise right back up and say the same thing when they said to you all along. Treat the people like you want to be treated. You don't want to go in no place there because you got high-end job and you got big money and you don't have to shop where poor people shop, that you could get away with this and say, well, they're too lazy anyway. That is not how you treat the masses, not when you're dealing with one past the post. One past the post means that one individual walk in there half crazy and no too good. He helped to vote you to get you in there. So he's a responsible citizen, at least in voting. So you should be a responsible area representative, political leader, to ensure that you get on these forums and you say, no, you hear about this thing where Cuba, they say that they're pressuring them on this. This is our position on this. Don't wait for just Jewel Vasquez or Marisol Amaya to ask you a question and then you give us a little soundbite. No, that's not fair. Do we take, all right. So caller, we'll have to go now to our guest who is on the line. My brother, welcome G Mike.
Good morning, Nuri. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you and we're seeing you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right.
Listen,
yeah.
I know you're full up, so before we get in there, some people are asking, where was G Mike? How is he doing? What is his situation now? Can you give us an update on your health situation?
Yeah, and I want to sum that up quickly because you know what, of all the things you have to talk about, Nuri, and some of the things you have been talking about, I mean, the last thing I want to talk about that much of me.
Yes, sir.
But first of all, I'm okay. And I feel like you put me on the spot now, like Muhammad Data. You see the thing with Muhammad Ali Data, where they release and things say he died in childbirth in Canada, went big, viral on the internet. She had to come on and do a video and say, no man, I all right, I cool, me not gonna no baby, me not there England. So rumors get out there.
Yes,
what I'm saying is that I'm okay. I'm in Mexico. I came to get some treatment. It was a miracle. It is a miracle. That's all I could declare this as, my brother.
Yes.
Explain it as. I'm almost walking. I'm in therapy right now. Had a wonderful doctor. You know the interesting thing, because the joints, the way these people could recreate, you could see how they could get arrogant, you know. Yeah. That we could do this, we could do it, but you can't do it better than God, then you can't do it as good as God.
Yeah.
To be clear.
Indeed. All right, let's jump in, G Mike, and we promise those who are calling that we'll open the phone lines after we've completed at least a part of the conversation with G Mike, so that you can also get your input. G Mike, let's start with these tariffs. Yesterday, as I said, Mr. Trump has announced that countries like Belize will face this 10% tariff on our products going into the United States. What's your thoughts on that, sir?
All right. What I wanted to talk about Trump, first of all.
All right.
Leading up to the elections, I was convinced that Trump was the better of the two evils. I lamented the fact that there were only two evils. There were evils on both sides. You know, that's not a choice. Then they push something down your throat. But I really believed, and I heard this guy from England. He's a congressman. Is he elected to Callaway? Do you know?
Oh, yes, yes. I listen to Callaway quite a bit.
The mother of all talk shows, and I'm saying Krem might go lawsuit for there. But anyway, he was saying that the reason I wanted Trump to win was because I believed that he would have stopped the war, and he has at least slowed it down. So that was my point in saying that, you know what, Trump is the better of these two evils, because trust me, people are not talking about this, but those wars started under Biden and Kamala Harris, and under the Democrats. Let's be real. So, I mean, I think if there's one thing, Trump is not as warmongering, but you got a lot of other faults, and it is proven that the other faults are made, was enough to make people wary indeed.
Well,
so, but the tariffs now, I'm sorry about that. I didn't get to your point. The tariffs, people have to understand that those tariffs will hurt Americans more than it will hurt us, because they can't put it on the goods coming in, and we put it on that. So if we could take off their tariffs and sell the stuff cheaper, but we cannot take off the tariff that he puts on and make Ricardo in New York cheaper, whatever they import. And I'm not sure, but bananas, I would imagine, and citrus, which in this area to Nuri, I can see Trump, a positive coming out of Trump's negative, because it will make countries realize the need to be self-sufficient. This brother, they rail about banana. My boy, we need to sell any banana. They put tariff, then they could sell banana more expensive if they want. But we, the one them where we to get, to me, enough. Me not see no mash up cocoa banana and whatnot. I see, I could go out there and get $6 for $1, and it held at $10 to $1 for a long time. They want breakfast. So I think what we have to do is step it down and leave it, though. It will require a lot of sacrifice, Nuri, by the people themselves. Joko would like to say the electorate, not to get involved. We need to be involved. We need to do whatever it takes to make this work for us as a country. We need to do that.
Well, you're right. We don't export a whole lot to United States. The only concern I would see, just based, as I said earlier, on my limited research, is that when we send a product in and there is a tariff on the product and it goes up by a few cents, that consumer might look at another product produced by a country who has a larger population, and so therefore sells that same product, call it banana or orange, at a lower price. And after a while, we have products that are not selling, and because of that, our economy begins to suffer as a result of that. But then the bigger picture, G. Mike, and you know this, is that we are an importing country. And so if the products that are coming to us through any channel, like in the case of this Chinese sanctioning these Chinese ships, it will mean that the consumer product, and we are involved in a consumer products, many of them are coming from China, we are going to end up paying more for those products because Mr. Trump is putting a sanction on these Chinese ships, saying that, you know, we don't even want you operating in this region. So what do you think then about the fact that he is putting a sanction on these Chinese ships? Mia Motley and other leaders in the Caribbean are already screaming bloody murder, and we have not said anything yet about it, but it's obvious that as a region who are buying from China are going to be affected by this. What do you think about that?
Why? I think we pay too much attention to the wrong things again, though.
Okay.
Because this will happen. What can we do about it? Talk, complain, cry, sit down upon our hand. What we have to do is make ourselves self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Temper our taste, if you will. We don't need to wear the best American-made thing. We could wear a good Belizean-made thing, but we have to get the process going where we have those who are creating that we need. So we have to meet at the middle. We have to have those who are going to, again, make the sacrifice and bring down the taste level a bit there if you have to, as far as imported or exported. And then those who are going to be involved in creating what needs to be bought or used as such. No?
Yeah, yeah.
See. Well, the tariffs, listen,
yeah.
Trump and doing. Again, we've made some interesting decisions, but Shakespeare used to say, in the ugly toad, in the horn of the ugly toad is a jewel. And we have to look for what we could get out of that. If what you cannot cure, you have to endure. So we have to endure this and make the best of it, but understand that Belize as a country can survive. Then we lead to the Caribbean. We've been going too far in America for too long, to the point that we do everything they do. We measure by inches. We don't measure by metric like the rest of the world. We drive pump on the side where they drive. We mimicked America, and as a result, we're so tied to them that's why we have to be afraid.
Yeah.
Because the decision Trump is making will hurt America, and people are seeing that. But no. I was hoping that the American people had more integrity, more character, more values to not let this happen, because they're able to do it. Every time they they got congressmen, they got one better system than we to do that in. And it was set up like that by their forefathers with much forethought. They say, listen, they see the possibility of this, and they put in place one infrastructure that would make it not happen. Now, do we use that or not? And that thing, obviously, Trump is convincing everybody that he could make them not use it. What they have to do is convincing that you know what, you're the one man. Look how much money you got.
Yeah.
Look how much authority we give you. This the one, democracy as such. America is not a dictatorship, and you, Mr. Trump, can want to be a dictator, but you don't have the options to do that. We're not going to allow it. So it's up to the people.
And you're saying a lot there, my brother, because in fact it is up to the people, but it's up to the leadership of the people to educate us about our options. We have become so used to buying the products off the shelf that are American made. We need to educate our people in the region that, guess what, some of these consumer products that you're buying are being produced on a small scale in the Bahamas, in St. Lucia.
Can I get a point in, though, before you go too far off on the point you're making?
No, I am on the point. Just let me finish. I am on exactly that same point, that those products, we've got to educate our people that we got to enhance the manufacturing of those products that we're buying from China, that we're buying from the United States, that is being produced by our own people. We pretty much can get the food under control if we have a concerted effort to feed ourselves. We can do that. But those products that our people are used to buying and going on the shelf, they look on the local product and they say,
"Can I get this quick?"
Yeah, I will get you, my brother. I'm driving. I'm going to let you get your point across. But allow me also, because it's a conversation. The idea is that you are right. We are going to be forced now to try to make sure that our own products are available for us in the Caribbean, and stop Trinidad, stop black Jamaica or any of those products, and learn that we can feed ourselves. Go ahead with your point.
All right, the point I got from you that we have to educate our people to these things. I'm saying there was a two-sided coin here. The people have to educate themselves in this day internet, immediate access, Google, all kind of different forums for knowledge. You have to do something to help yourself too. So let's look at it on two sides of this matter. So we could put in place the things, so infrastructure for education, but the people have to want to get educated. Let me segue a bit to the football field. Because we watch the football team take a licking, and we have to do this, we have to change this, we have to fire this one. But what about the kids getting that discipline from young? What about them putting in? Because you could grab one 10 man with talented, but you don't want to beat them ballet out there. Not like that. Anyway.
Yeah, you're making a very good point, and that's why I applaud this basketball federation, because they're not looking to field a baseball team in the next year or two. They're looking down a generation, because you have to farm this, and I think you're making that point, that, you know, we, according to my understanding, because I've just heard the news, the football people say the people who they found Some of them couldn't be on the team because they couldn't come to the practice, and we have a strict practice process. These people are saying, but I mean, the work, I can't, I have to pass. Football is not my full profession, whereas maybe over in Costa Rica, then guys get sanction or support financially so that they can stay out there in their practice field for a much longer time. So there was a lot of blame going around, and that's probably natural. But to solve problems, we do, and I agree with you, have to look at ourselves and not always be blaming people for why we are being taken advantage of. I agree with you completely. Can we take the first break, G. Mike, unless you want to finish anything before we go to the next point? I got several others. Anything on that?
Well, I want to touch on that one, just a bit from where I said.
Yeah, go through with that, because we got a minute to do that, then we'll take the break. Go ahead.
All right, the baseball team, when I saw the guy, that the news on that, and it looks good. But we cannot, I don't know what kind of space we have for that. I mean, I'm looking at something here what might work. One five-a-side tournament between different neighborhoods, get the kids to interact with each other. And this is the kind of thing I think we need to put on the table and discuss more.
Yeah.
How we can help the younger generation when we pass this mantle for them to carry it with pride and ease. We were given a lot by the generation before us. We got a lot of technology. We got mobility. We got research. We got a lot of things. What are we going to leave to the next generation? We need to start to ask ourselves that. But go take your break and come back, man. I need to tell you what I
Good. All right, G. Mike is our guest today, and you know he full up just as we feel full up this morning, so we got much more to talk about. I'd like to say to the caller that persists in calling, we will open the phone lines. We will not disrupt our conversation with G. Mike. We will open up the phone lines and give you a chance if you will be patient. Thank you. We'll be back. All right, welcome back again. This is WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes on a Thursday morning. Our guest is the esteemed brother, a man who is an activist, a man who is a journalist, a man who has been out there for quite some time, Brother G. Michael Reed. Yeah, G. Michael, I got a text also from an avid listener and one who wanted to just throw in this idea, and I get your comment on it, that maybe it may be a blessing in disguise, because remember, the product that we send into the United States, though it is taxed at 10%, that there are other countries sending in similar products that may be taxed at a higher rate than 10%. And as you notice, there are some that have been taxed as much as 25%. Does that make us a little bit more competitive? Perhaps, even though we're being sanctioned, does that make us a little bit more competitive on the US market? And does it, in fact, also force us, like you said earlier, to stop making excuses and start doing something for ourselves, start becoming a little bit more competitive, and that maybe Trump is a shot across the bow, as they say, to give us a wake-up call, to really start enhancing our own manufacturing capabilities, our own industries should be growing during this period of Mr. Trump, so that we don't get caught with our pants down, as some countries seem to have been caught now by his policies. What's your thoughts?
I think we are caught with our pants down. The whole world is. Nobody really expected that this man get like this, but at the end of the day, there is a positive side, and everything to me is perception. How you look upon it.
Okay.
Am I going to look for the possibilities and opportunities in this, or will I sit and cry?
Good point, bro. Good point. All right, let me move on. The issue of Cuba. You've been to Cuba. You've received medical services in Cuba. I myself have visited Cuba. And while you see strained conditions there, you can't help but be proud of a people who have been under the strain that they have been on for over 50 years and have maintained their dignity. Not only maintained their dignity, but persons like yourself and others have been able to go there and get a competitive price of treatment. Maybe I shouldn't focus only on you because I don't know your personal experience, but it is a fact that many people have had the opportunity to go to Cuba. Let's talk about the fact that over the 30 or more years of them coming into Belize, where we were short on doctors at one time. I can remember when many of our doctors were coming from India. Some of them looked like they never even finished high school and couldn't talk English. We went through a whole period of them back in the 80s and 70s. Cubans came in, you know, people made a fine excuse with them, but clearly they have proven that they have been a great contribution to our health system in the Caribbean. Now we're being told, our leaders, that if you continue to have these Cubans there, which Trump calls them slave labor, that we'll sanction you. You can't get your visa for going into the United States, etc., etc. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, Cuba has been shouting for years. Cuba has been out there saying to the world, look at these bullies. Look but look what we can do when we stand firm. Big up Fidel Castro. We know how many times they tried to assassinate the man. The one man that stood and held his people together. I think right now this is where we want to believe somebody for hold our people together, and then we could stand and say, hold on, we independent, you know. This is something we agreed upon in 1945 with the formation of the United Nations. This is what brings us to the illegal thing happening over there in Palestine, because it was in 1948, after the establishment of the United Nations and a decision made by the entire world, that this is what we are now, we'll be like this and we'll look out for one another. That is the biggest problem over there right now, you know. Yeah. It's an illegal settlement that they try to take everything from the people in this day and age. In 2025, this ought not to be happening. We are more civilized.
What do you think about, we segue from, and I'm glad you went to the Palestinian issue because that was my next question. we have a significant amount of people, and Belize has its group, that call themselves Christians. And I'm not into a religious argument because I know we're talking about principle. They're a group of people that are seeing the atrocities that have been going on over a year in the Palestine. A ceasefire has been broken by the Israelis, and they're now back to the slaughtering that they were doing prior to the ceasefire. But you have a good amount of Americans, a good amount of Belizeans that are saying them people deserve it. You know, see in the Bible that the God said that you're supposed to kill them people, and they're sitting back watching babies burn and incinerated, people having their buildings falling on top of them that you can't find them for weeks, locked down in the rubbles as we see in Myanmar right now. And then they say, God want that to happen like that. No, I'm not bringing a religious argument. I'm bringing a moral question here, G. Mike, because I'm asking you because you've criticized it so strongly already on your Facebook page. What is wrong with us that we will allow, after 1945, where we said we are going to get rid of that kind of dictatorial craziness that we saw going on in the European war of World War I and II, that we are supposedly more civilized now, that we go to the negotiating table and we try to settle things peacefully. And these people have completely broken that down and say, look, yeah, might is right, then people, yeah, we need to push them out, etc., etc., etc. What's your thought about that?
All right, before I go on, I'll make a say, and at the risk of raising your ira, you tired me sometime, and you talk and the latter thing you push in.
Well, I know you're a multi-thinker, that's why.
I'm just, I don't think as complicated as you imagine, no? So, but just that. I didn't want to move on from Cuba so quickly.
I see.
Because Cuba has a very significant thing here facing us in
All right, let's go back to Cuba, because there's a lot to talk about indeed. Go back to Cuba, and then we'll go to the Palestinians afterwards.
We have to support Cuba because Cuba has been good to us, especially in the Caribbean, in Africa. In fact, when things happen in America, Cuba has offered help. When I had Katrina and the whole thing, Cuba offered help and America refused it. Because we know that only petty kind of, for such a big, powerful country, they're petty. They're not bullies. They're not thugs, as one congressperson called them. And they don't suppress anybody saying anything about them. They can't destroy everybody, and everybody is good over evil every time. They don't know that. So I think we are good in our support of Cuba because Cuba has been good to us. What we have to do is rally in the Caribbean. We have a strong woman leader. I was listening to something by the Prime Minister of Jamaica the other day, a strong leader who is saying, but for them to stand strong, they need the support of the electorate and the people. And this is getting to a point that you made earlier, that you have a good amount of people who they say that them people over there deserve that. I don't agree. They want vociferous few, and they're getting fewer. People are waking up, this thing to blatant, this thing up in your face. How can you block anything and say, oh no, even in a Bible, you can't block some atrocity like that.
Yeah. All right, you've segued into that. You don't want to say anything more in terms of what can we do as citizens? We were, as a country, one of the first, and you were there, to march and to say what is going on there is wrong. Where do we stand now? Is it a march again? Our Prime Minister is saying that, you know, obviously he feels the sense that if we stay in The Hague as we were supporting the South Africans and they're taking the Israelis to court. He's saying maybe it's not in our best interest to move in that direction. What do you think about that? Do you think, is that a sign of capitulation, or is it just being smart?
You don't give me time for formulating and thought, and then you go on, man.
Why you the question? I'm just asking you questions that me and you could talk outside of the air, man. I don't talk different than when I talk to you on the phone. Or you get so sensitive.
I'm saying you all that. Anyway, can we answer the question now?
Go ahead, answer the question.
What do we do now?
Right.
Because what we have done, which was brave, and I'm totally in support of that. I was speaking to a South African fellow I met in New York when South Africa was deep in apartheid. And by the way, a point of interest here that will tie in the two, because we basically talk about everything at the same time. Bishop Desmond Tutu applauded, lots of accolades, lots of awards, went to Palestine during the time when South Africa was in the depth of their apartheid. And he returned and made a public statement that the apartheid he saw in Palestine was much worse than what he was experiencing in South Africa. And we know how bad that was. The world turned against that. So this was before any October 7th, which they use as a cludgeon. There's a guy, Mahidi Hamid. I wish but it outlines some of the lies that were told, that were blatant lies, and people are standing up telling the truth. What do we do? Again, the South Africans said to me, I said, what I could do? Me in New York to run the streets and me to get high, me to worry about what I could do for helping. I understand only to go through. What can I do? And he said, son, just be aware and keep it in mind. He said, because of the overall mental and the consensus of mentality that makes changes in matters like these. The change will have to come. So, again, we just have to be aware and know. And when people come to away with the fool, you kind of have some stupid arguments. And one of the Bible, God gave them that land 6,000 years ago. I'm like, fool, you can't remember what happened in 1798. That are less than 200, 6,000 years ago. And you bring a parchment paper, where's the evidence? Has God lost his voice? Is God not able now to speak and say, look here, and God, I tell the truth, if God holla now and say, and you will know if the God, because it's profound, no? So if God say, listen, now, let me give the people a land left them alone, then go ahead. We help you drive out the Palestinians. But where your proof? You to bring one language where you know him speak. Mr. Zionists, they don't speak Hebrew, they speak Yiddish. Let us be real about what happened here, man.
That's
and there's
a good
no
point.
how you are just going to a man's house and say, why God send me here, you know. Can you do that today, Nuri?
No.
Can you even pray where you work and say, God send me to take over this place? I look, you ask and run you down the street in our wool shoes, no?
Indeed. G-Mike, we promised that at this hour we'll open the phone lines, so me and you will continue the conversation up to the next break. But the phone lines are now open at 280-5848. You could join the conversation between G, Michael Reed, and myself. 280-5848. It seems as though in America itself, though, that Americans are not taking this guy sitting down. As I mentioned, I understand that there's a pressure on him now to distance himself from Mr. Elon Musk, because he's becoming politically a liability. Welcome, caller. Welcome, caller. All right, so that call is not there.
Come in, caller. I think what Dickie Bradley, come in, caller. You remember that show, boy? We need to come back here.
And he's still active. He's still active.
Oh yeah, he's about just still the talk.
Yeah, man. All right, welcome, caller. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Nuri. Nuri Muhammad and G. Mike, Allah's Akbar.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
I wish you a speedy recovery, G. Mike. And one thing about a speedy recovery, you gotta have a positive mind, a positive energy, because a part of your healing process is your mind also. With negative vibes and negative responses, you can't heal as quick if you don't have a positive attitude, G. Mike. You're a very educated dude and everything. You remind me of me when I was young, hot-head, you know what I'm saying? Trust me, I've been to the pen. time.
All
All
right.
that stuff. But
All right. You got to deal with your question, though, bro. You got to deal with your question.
Yeah, okay, but anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, you keep on talking about this debt thing in Belize about, oh, we're down 7% on our debt load. You don't realize that 3 to 78% of people who've been shot or even more in Belize. So we're down 7%, man. 7% of the people got shot, but they didn't die.
All right.
People missed their target and everything.
All
Am I
right.
right, Mr. Nuri Mohammed?
No, I want you to deal with specifics of what we're dealing with today. We're talking about Trump. We're not talking a general, broad audience. All right.
Okay,
So,
I can go
specifically.
for I think education. I go political science, anthropology.
Yeah.
It's going to take effect with you guys because basically 10% is a little bit for your country. You know, Mexico is going to deal with us. Whatever you guys, whatever we go through in life in America, for us buying groceries, yeah. I used to buy $100 worth of groceries in my cart. Now all I need is a basket for $100 worth of supplies and everything. It's going to get worse. It's a chain effect. If it happens to America, it's going to happen to Central America too.
Unfair. I don't hear what
Get prepared for that and everything.
All right, then, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it will affect you guys. It's affecting me too because I'm a Chinese buyer. I buy Lexus and Toyotas and Nissan. So it will affect me also in America.
All right.
I don't buy American-brand cars.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Anyway,
yeah. All right. Our number here is 280-5848. We got a problem when that brother calls that I don't know if it's the distance of his phone call, but many times it's not very clear. 280-5848. I said earlier. Yeah.
Can you hear me, Nuri?
Say,
Nuri?
Sir?
Hello.
Go ahead,
Can
man.
you hear me?
Yeah, man.
All right. Is he an American?
Yes, he is. A Belizean American.
A Belizean American.
Yes, sir.
I see what you're saying.
All right.
Yeah, but
let me take the next break and come back so we don't lose the rhythm of our conversation. All right, we'll take the break.
In Belize, we value our family.
All right, welcome back. Our guest, as you can see, is Brother G. Michael Reed, the one and only G. Michael Reed. And somebody just texted and said, tell G. Michael Reed, you are aging gracefully, my brother. So that's a good compliment there, because some of we age in some terrible ways. So your compliment is there. Our number here is 280-5848. And G. Mike, since we're coming close to the end now, and I want to give you as much time as you need, I also want you to reflect on the fact that Americans are not sitting back and just allowing this man. You saw Mr. Jeffries in the House doing a marathon filibuster over 23 or 25 hours of talking. Now, filibustering is standing there, and they can't disrupt you until you're finished, because that is your position. And he did it for like 25 hours criticizing Trump. We see again the pressure coming on Trump to distance himself from Elon Musk. And the courts in the United States and the media is very much on his case. You think he will survive?
For 4 years at least, unless, of course, one of their attempts that they have made succeed. And I don't know, a second one look fake to me. How nothing wrong with he is. But before we get there, and I know I missed this opportunity to talk about our project at Charlie Burton Park.
All right, of course.
The kids look forward to a couple of events where we have every year. One at Christmas, one at Easter, one at back to school, and May Day. So, but Easter we're going to do a fundraising barbecue along with a big football game. We got some boys ready, and we're back to football. If we're gonna complain about what the team not to do, we need to put something into it. Every neighborhood could have one lead team. They don't have to play 11 aside. They're not gonna have a big field. And this was the point was getting with softball. Have a softball, you need a big field. Baseball even. So I think you got one or two. You got MCC and maybe the Raja Stadium for sure, or Edwards Park, I should say. But let me say that we have to put more attention into it. So we at Charlie Burton Park, they try to do something. Our neighborhood where we're gonna have a lot of kids to grow up in. If we don't give these kids a good direction, they will get a bad direction. And then we don't have nobody for blame but ourselves. Let us do what we can.
All right, our number here is 280-5848. I have to disagree with you, because baseball and softball is pretty much the same, and we've had a very robust softball. I think the thing about this...
When?
Say it again? When? Well, I think if you remember that we've had softball winners in the Caribbean.
Yes, we did have a goal. You go back there. I don't know.
Well, I don't think the size of the field has changed. I think the Raja Stadium still provides a very large...
No, my argument was not to bring down baseball and softball in any way. I'm saying an easier thing, you easier get 5 men for play one football game than for get 11 or how many men it take for play baseball.
All right.
So
here you go. You got a call. Welcome, caller.
Assalamu alaikum again, Brother Nuri.
All right, walaikum assalam, sir. Make it short because we're running out of time.
Greetings and best wishes on his recovery to G. Mike, even though he is somebody I know from a distance, meaning I only see him a couple times, seeing him around the city working for the police department, and I think he used to read the news to the police. But anyway, they say no wait till the Monday to tell I good, so I wish the best for him.
All right, good.
And the next thing is the shatter regarding to biblical or religious discussion. As you say, we don't want to make no war against no religious people. But I keep in my common sense. Nobody has to agree with me, but my sense they tell me that the people that know they are saying that those are the ones chosen by God is not the people that came out of Egypt with Moses. So those who read history or theology or whatever for many years, they need to wake up and understand. Repeat, the people that came out from bondage in Egypt with Musa alayhi salam, which is Moses, is not the same people that migrated from Europe to the place they call their own in Palestine and Jerusalem. Those were European people that was also pay millions of dollars of reparation because of what what Hitler did to them. So it's evident that the original Jews that moved out of Egypt, the ones that God set for 40 days in the desert along with Musa, are not the people that claiming the land that they say is their own.
All right.
Salam alaikum.
Thank you very much. Wa alaikum assalam. 280-5848 is our number. Yeah, G. Mike, I wanted to really get your input on this that I mentioned lastly, which is that the American people are not sitting back and just allowing Mr. Trump to do whatever he wants to do. You are aware that they have a three-pronged institutions there, the executive, which he is the head of, the Congress, which he pretty much has a lot of influence over, and the judiciary. And the judiciary has been kicking back quite a bit on his policies. Welcome, caller.
But
yes, good morning again.
Brother, can you call back? You know, we don't want to have multiple calls on the same subject. Our number here 280-5848. Yeah, go ahead, G. Mike.
Yeah, but let me again just say this, Nuri. If you talk until the caller calls, then you're not going to ask me a question, but not give me a chance for answer.
Yeah,
no,
well, I told you that during this period, we're going to give the callers an opportunity to call.
You don't have to be on back and forth, though. Let me make a point, and then if you don't agree, then you're going to...
Yeah, but if you throw one stone at me, I can't just stick the stone. I have to tell you that that's not correct.
As a host, you might need.
Go ahead.
So, anyway, the American people are not sitting down taking it. They're sitting down taking money's being sent to Israel. You know how much money out of their economy they got there? You know how much is spent on defense? They're sitting down taking a lot. Where they not detect that now that they raise the noise about Trump and Musk and whatnot, but everything is still going on. They're not putting in place that checks and balance, that guardrail, that tier of defense that they have against tyranny. I don't know that they're doing enough. No, they're not. And I heard Booker, of course, doing the 25-hour thing, which is admirable. I mean, the lot of stamina. But at the end of the day, what is happening to stop the injustices that are happening? Are they only anti-Trump or are they anti-injustice? Because then you can't just make Trump the way he wants, and corruption is out of control. And I know he wants that the whole system needs to be looked at and realigned. It'll take the people to save the people.
All right, well, within that system, as I understand it and have been viewing it for some time, the courts can stop a president from doing what he is doing. And the courts are now saying this particular executive order is illegal. This particular deportation order is illegal. And if he fights the courts, then he's moving more and more into a dictatorship situation, and Americans will have to decide if this is what they want to do. So I will not throw out the baby with the bathwater and simply say, Trump want to do what he want to do no matter what. No, the American system doesn't work like that.
No, but don't say, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay. All right.
I've been the one shouting at the top of my voice that America have in place guardrails and an infrastructure algorithm to prevent this.
Yeah.
So let me be in that, no?
All right. Those guardrails, I think, cannot be dismissed yet. But they are weakened simply because he's the one that has put quite a few of those Supreme Court judges in there. They're now referred to as a sort of a conservative court. And so many of the things that he is promoting, they may accept. There is also a very strong Republican push in the Congress. He has a majority there that are not, in my opinion, in principle, not standing up for some of the things that he is doing, which is going against the very fabric of America, welcoming people into their country, etc. But, we not, and I am not, just dismissing Trump, or, a crazy man. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that we as a country, an independent country, has a responsibility to respond to this man with sense and not only with emotion. I admire what I see Miss Mia Motley doing. I think it's very important. Go ahead, sir.
If a man is 200 and they shoot arrows at you and got a shield and use the shield, you don't get hurt. So they have the shield and they have the infrastructure and got the guardrails as we spoke, but they need to use it. So I think that the people again need to urge one another. Now we got the same thing I believe in, because we have to look at some point, look at how our structure is working. What type of governance are we supporting? They are right. They have to deal with anything. We have to deal with ours. I think right now the time is for us to do some serious introspecting.
Yes,
look at ourselves. Look at what is happening. What we can do. Certainly, what we have to understand is the responsibility to the next generation. We need to be grooming. If we want a better football team, start from early. I used to always tell people when I was speaking for the police, and the guy made the point now, that you get the type of policeman we deserve, because they're not coming from out of Mars. They're not coming, that who we groom as children, so we have to find a home. That informal education has to take hold. We have to teach these children a better way.
Yeah, absolutely. So, G. Mike, listen, it's been interesting. I mean, you and I got normal conversation, whether we sit down on your veranda or meet just to talk. This is a normal, and we need to let people know that's the way we talk with each other. You got your style, I got my style. You strong on what you believe in, as I do, as I feel on my own point. So this is normal for us. Man talk is kind of like what we like to do. And so I'd like to give you some last few minutes to do any closing points you'd like to make right now.
All right, thank you, Nuri. Thanks for the time. Thanks to the listeners for endure my rhetoric for a little while. I'm again still in Mexico, but I'll be home for Easter, and we're doing we got a Lee Park there, the Charlie Burton Park. People pass it and see the kids. I believe when I'm up here, it's still in use. Got in the play ball and the groom and league football team. Again, we have to get these kids relating to one another, competing with one another, because competition is an integral part of the social makeup of man,
Yeah.
Communication, the one like we are doing here, we have to communicate with one another. Those who have looked at things from a different angle should be welcome to give their opinion, and you never know, it might change the whole way we look at things. What is happening now in America, the suppression of speech, the picking up of all the students who were involved in a saying to America, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Stop the kill all them picnic on women, picnic on children, and then you want to justify that. And you were talking about the ones here who you got some people on Facebook, and the first thing I come, well, they started. What a puerile argument. What a pity. Nuri, if me and the fight, and you hold up on baby front, and you get away with anything you done before that, because the life of that child is very, very important. The whole world you look, and for go around and out so many lights, they left so many children with amputated limbs. My God, do you have no heart, Mr. Man? And then you will spend now, I hear Germany, the increase, Germany is saying they lift the always behind. They are preparing for war. With who? What? Who? That Europe against who? Africa now or the rest of the world? The whites against the non-whites, make we know, make we be upfront with one another and understand what we're up against. But we have to prepare ourselves, number one, as beliefs, number two, as families, and number three, as individuals. Stand strong, do the right thing.
All right, my brother.
Please, one more thing. Please support our barbecue. Can we take care of the park ourselves? We put the eating in our thanks to everybody who helped. And again, now from my point, I'm doing well. Rehab is coming along. I did on therapist. It is not easy, so still pray for me.
Right,
but I want to say thanks to everybody who helped in any way to make this miracle a reality.
I want, just before you go, I want to clear one rumor and just be clear, be frank, and no hold back. I understand that the Mexican national football team has made an offer to you that as soon as you completely recover, they'd like you to stay and play forward on their team going to the World Cup. Is there any truth to that, G. Mike?
But I don't like when you expose anything like that, and I'm one broke the news myself, right? But at this point, I'm still asleep, and I say dream not done till sleep done.
All right, G. Mike, thanks very much for being with us. We'll take our last break, and then we are gone.
Take a deep breath. You feel
All right, welcome back. We have just enough time to thank you for being with us since the beginning of the program this morning. To thank our guest, G. Michael, who came all the way from Mexico City this morning. Thank you, G. Mike, for your contribution this morning. For the callers, thank you also for taking the time and spending your 2 cents to call and to share your opinion. And we want to thank those who put the show together technically. Our MCO is Christy Flowers this morning. Mr. Cliff Lewis, who does more than just, man, if you only know how much this man contributes for keeping us where we are. I mean, he does everything. So thank you very much, Cliff. And we mostly thank you for holding with us and being with us, and we hope that you will return tomorrow for our program, inshallah. So Belizeans, stand strong and always stand firm. Do the right thing. For now, we're gone.
Wake up, Billy.